Good morning.
Good morning.
I have always loved puzzles. When I was very little, we had those 10-piece cardboard paper puzzles that made the shape of a kitten or a Dumbo the elephant. And we always got the straight edges first, so you knew the shape of the puzzle. But imagine my delight when I found out that puzzles were all different shapes and different sizes, 50 pieces, 100 pieces. And my great aunt Pauline, who was the champion puzzler, she said, someday, Ethel, you will do 1,000-piece puzzle. I was the kid in the family that not only saw that there were puzzling things, but I was the one going, why? But in the 1950s era of my childhood, the catchwords were, shh, stop, don't rock the boat, and then a blatant no with a raised eyebrow from my mother, which meant stop right now. There's a story about a 7-year-old child who was given a puzzle of a map of the world. Can you do this puzzle? She was asked. She did it in record time. How did you do this? People asked her. Well, she said, when I spread all the pieces out, and I saw on the other side there were parts of a little child. I knew that. So I put together the head and the neck and the body and the arms and legs and feet, and then I turned the puzzle over. Don't know how to go on. This precious child knew to take care to put herself together first. So what does this have to do with my passion and my purpose? It begins with me. When I was younger, I didn't know how to figure out those puzzles in my family. And I certainly didn't have any kind of framework to make the puzzle of myself. I just didn't seem to fit in my family. I was too loud, I was too fast, I was too excited. So then there was a lot of no, no, no. I just didn't have any what we call boundaries, so I didn't know even the shape of my puzzle. And then I tried to put in the shape, but I ended up just shouting, no, because I didn't have any other words to figure it out. And then the 1960s came along, and I was a teenager. I saw a bumper sticker that said, question authority. I was like, oh, this was my permission to be curious, to ask out loud, well, why? Why did you do that? Not accusing why, but why did you do that? What made you do that? I want to know that too. I gave myself permission to be curious with everything and everybody. It wasn't easy because there was quite a bit of pushback, but it got better and better. I found I had to label a lot of old beliefs as that's a lie and drop it. And then I had to replace it with something that I valued that was good for me. The first time I looked in a mirror and said, I love you, Ethel, I was shaking all over. But gradually the world opened up, and along the way I received a cherished gift of a very loving higher power, a spirit for me. I also found I was pretty good at helping people put their puzzles together, which led to teaching and counseling and speaking with groups and helping people smooth out their edges, which we know as boundaries and issues. What a thrill when a kid or a client got it being, oh, you mean I can take care of myself. I can learn to love myself and then maybe say I love you to you too. My husband Hank and I have a small piece of wood on our kitchen table, and on that wood it says the word kindness. And we use it as a talisman for ourselves and for each other and for every beautiful thing in our house and every beautiful guest that comes into our house and out in the world. I strive to look on everything with a soft gaze of kindness. And the words of the 14th Dalai Lama kind of help me. Actually, not him. They help a lot. And he says, this is my simple religion. There's no need for a complicated philosophy. Our brain, our heart, is our temple. Our philosophy is kindness. Today, my interactions with people are not just vocations, but avocations. I get excited to see my friends. I get excited to be here. I love it when I meet a new friend and we learn to share what we hold dear, what's in our hearts. There's even a snippet of passion when I have the opportunity to learn something from someone whose values or beliefs are at the way opposite end of the spectrum from mine. Because there's some way we can connect. We may find that, oh, we're both learning about those strange apps on our phone. Or we've met at Safeway, my famous place for meeting people, and we have shared the benefits of using the Mr. Clean magic eraser. It's a starting place. I want to be, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, love struck by everyone, not colorblind. He extended it, and I'm along with that, to why people dress the way they do, why they live where they do, why they believe what they do, what influenced them. I really think that Martin Luther King was curious as well as being wise. I have to take time to work on my own puzzle. It's about 1,000 pieces now, sometimes 2,000. And there's lots of colorful parts. There's the spiritual part, there's the financial part, the emotional part. You get the idea. But I still start at the edges to keep the shape. In a charming and sometimes very funny book called The Holy Man, the Holy Man talks about the monks who come to stay with him for a summer. They're at the hermitage. They help fix up the hermitage. And they relax. They meditate. They play music. They make art. They just play. And then, says the Holy Man, when they go back to the world, they are able to live to their full potential, bringing wonderful things and wonderful accomplishments, while also helping the world's progress. Their eyes are clear and their hearts are full. I love that. For me, it means stepping away from the busyness of the world, sometimes an extended retreat, sometimes a day, sometimes an hour on Zoom or something like this, to polish up my edges. I also have a daily morning meditation time, especially with my husband. We read every day with something spiritual. Right now we are reading the Holy Man for about the third time. This daily retreat makes it a lot simpler for me to go out in the world and live out loud. In Michelle Obama's book, The Light We Carry, she talks about her friend who, as he gets ready every day, he looks in the mirror and he says, "Hey, buddy, what a great attitude." In the last 2 years, my purpose for nourishing authentic connections and living out loud has a bit of carpe diem, but it's not a sense of urgency like, oh my gosh, time is speeding by. I really have to get out and do this. It's because every day, every minute is so precious. Everything is precious. I get to do what I love. It's not just being positive, but it's the feeling that I get from being optimistic. It's a heck of a lot of fun. I just have to show up. In every action, I want to be present. I want to listen and learn and recognize the gorgeousness in everybody that I like. So each morning I look in the mirror and I smile, and sometimes I say, "I love you, Ethel." And sometimes I say, "Hey, what you got today?" That was wonderful. One more hand for Ethel, please. And so now I would like to introduce our other New Yorker. Tamara Morrison was born in New York, raised in Chicago, and 5 years ago she moved to Tucson. She has a master's degree from Indiana University in audiovisual and documentary filmmaking. She's a licensed holistic health counselor from State University of New York, just SUNY, process that. State University of New York. And she was a licensed spiritual practitioner at CSL from Bodhi Spiritual Center in Chicago in 2017. And we all know once a practitioner, always a practitioner. For work, she owns Tamara she's the owner of Tamara Backdrops, painted art, murals, and backdrops for the film and photography industries.
And she's currently painting for decorators in private homes and also painting on commission Southwest landscapes for clients in art galleries. Please help me welcome Tamara Morrison.
Well, I told Reverend Janice that if everybody dropped dead during Zoom and nobody could get up and she couldn't speak, that I would be happy to do the Sunday sermon. She was like, "Okay, I'll put you in the back of my dictionary." So here I am. So, I'm sorry. So I'm really excited to be here. And the first thing I wanted to do, was I'm exploring joy today. I took joy. There's passion in there too, but joy. So I would like to read you 5 quotes from interesting people about joy. So the first one is Albert Einstein. What did Einstein have to say about joy? Joy in looking and comprehending is nature's beautiful gift. This is George Bernard Shaw. This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being thoroughly worn out before you are thrown out on the scrap heap, and being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little cloud of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making happy. That's George Bernard Shaw. So this is Mother Teresa. Joy is the net of love by which you can catch souls. Another Mother Teresa. A joyful heart is the inevitable result of a heart burning with love. Charles Dickens. The pain of parting is nothing to the joy of meeting again. And Richard Bach, who wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull, the bond that links your true family is not one of blood, but a love and a respect in each other's lives. This is Shakespeare. Things won are done. Joy's soul lies in the doing. And Cahill de Braun. There are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward. So I thought that was kind of cool. So first I wanted to tell you that I told my sister that I was going to speak today about my passion, and my sister said, she screamed in the phone, "Oh, you're going to tell about your passion for clothes." I said, "Excuse me? No, I'm not going to tell my church my passion for clothes." Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. It's interesting how other people see you. So, first, I want to say that I'm not going to talk about my love of clothes, for sure. I'm going to talk about joy and happiness. So joy is something that I have been constantly in search of ever since I was 5 years old. That's how far back I can remember, anyway. At first, it was receiving some small money coins from my dad's pocket to run to the little store, Santucci's, near my house to buy some candy. That was like ecstasy for me at 5. And then my joy moved to owning a bicycle. Wow. Then my joy moved to a car. It was a Cheese Whiz Pinto. And then my parents had a house in the Florida Keys, and I couldn't go out on the water. So they bought the house, not me, a tiny little boat that had a tiny little motor so that I could go out and have new adventures on the Atlantic Ocean. And oh my, I was off to my new travel adventures. Travel is one of my passions. I really thought that happiness was an object to get.
a certain boyfriend to have, or a new exciting place to travel to. I'm sure I was just a typical human being, born into race consciousness on this planet Earth, caught up in ego's world. Truly, I was seeking fleeting moments of happiness, seeking my joy, my happiness. Well, it was just not enough. But wait, did you just hear me interchange the words joy and happiness? Yes, I was. So I'd like to launch into just an aside about joy and happiness. What I was really telling you about was what made me happy. Turns out I really have not been tuned into my vocabulary. Not very well. I know there's some entomologists in here who study words. I'm not one of them. I use them casually. I have been using both joy and happy to mean the same thing. I didn't know they didn't mean the same thing. Wrong. So I dove into the real meaning of both words. So happiness, from Webster's dictionary, says a pleasurable or satisfying experience, a state of well-being. And Webster says about joy, an emotion evoked by well-being, success, a good fortune, or by the prospect of possessing what one desires. Clearly, I was looking in the wrong place for the spiritual meaning of these words. For when I dug deeper, I found what I really wanted. Happy refers more to fleeting emotions, things, deeds, places, temporal things that are earthly. Happiness is an emotion, whereas joy is deeper, more down in your heart, more spiritual. Joy is a state of mind. Happiness comes from accomplishments. Joy comes when your heart is in another. But no one can mess with your joy. Someone can mess with your happiness. They can kind of say something and get you off your happy moment. But when you have joy, joy is really something you own. It's deep inside you. No one can take it away from you. So I just love that I found the difference between joy and happiness. Happy's up here and joy's in here. So it turns out what I was really seeking was joy. And I thought I was seeking happiness. So it's a good distinction for me to realize. I wanted a more meaningful, deeper experience of life in my 20s. I was seeking a deeper connection to my heart, my spirituality. One of my passions this time is to know God first. To know God first. And then to find out who I really am. As I went back to my roots in church, I grew up a Presbyterian, and my mom in second grade, she said, well, we're not really spiritual around this house, but I think it'd be good for you kids to go to church and find out what it's really like. So she dressed us up and hauled us off to the Presbyterian church. And I went there for 7 or 8 years. And when they asked me to go to confirmation, I didn't know what they were talking about. I had to conform to this church. And something deep down inside was a little upset with that. So I made an appointment by myself at 12 years old to see the minister. And the secretary said, I'm sorry, are you bringing your mother? I said, no, my mother's not coming. I'm not telling my mother. So I made an appointment to see Reverend Pierce, and I couldn't get these answers out of my Sunday school teachers. So I asked him, I asked him, and he was quite shocked to see me. I said, I have to know what this church believes before I sign my name and conscribe to your tribe. I don't know what you're talking about. All I kept getting was, we believe in the Ten Commandments. I said, that's fine. I do too. But I said, I need to know what this church thinks about hell. Where is hell? I said, I just can't get any word out of these people. I just want to know what you believe. So we had a very nice, maybe 10-minute discussion, and I really felt good about what he said. I really feel Presbyterian's the lightest of the lightest of the Christian churches. So anyway, I didn't go back to church for about 15 years, and finally in my 20s, I decided to go back to my roots. I was in Chicago, and this Presbyterian church there is one of the most beautiful buildings on Michigan Avenue. And I thought, well, I was a Presbyterian, I'll go check it out. So I went there for about 7 or 8 years, but eventually I got bored. It just wasn't enough. It just seemed a little stale. So then a friend mentioned Unity Church when I was in my 30s, and Unity popped up, and I was afire with New Age spirituality. Why had I not heard of this before? So God has mysterious ways to guide you. Now I know it is all divine timing. At a yoga class about 15 years ago, one of the attendants was Reverend Mark Anthony Lord, and he's quite a charismatic guy. He was the head of Bodhi Spiritual Center, Chicago, CSLT Chicago. The first class I took got me hooked. My burning passion was to know if my life is predestined or did I have free will? No one could answer that question for me in the right way. Was my life predestined or did I have free will? Well, Reverend Mark said yes to both. I was shocked. I knew I was in the right place with the right people to do my digging around for my spiritual answers. Chicago Bodhi Center. Hurrah! I knew immediately when I started that I wanted to be a licensed practitioner. I am so in love with Ernest Holmes. I'm in love with Ernest Holmes' manner of describing God and the universe and what the heck is really going on down here. So I'm very out loud. I'm going to say this out loud. This is my passion out loud. I am in love with God and the Center for Spiritual Living Tucson. I am blessed to make good friends here. I am finding out who God is here with you, through you. The classes, the books, and especially the people. They're filling me with deep joy. So I got my joy. It's here. I have faith now, where once I had doubt. I only have love and goodness, and I know they shall follow me the rest of my days. So it is. So now let's have a prayer. And move to the music. We can't wait to get to the music. So, dear, wonderful oneness, the wholeness, the allness. I know there is nothing happening but God. And this oneness is breathing and living and moving us. It is having its being as you and me. It's having its joy when we find our joy. It is helping us and giving us little hints all the time of where to find our joy and our happiness. God is my passion. God is everywhere and here for all of us to help us have a joyful life, a passionate life, full of things we want to do. So we're just grateful knowing that every minute that we're here, we're in communion with God. As a group, we are more powerful than just alone at home. I'm just so grateful for all the people here, for all the music. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you. They say, and so it is. I release it into the world.